Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Pokemon Go Third Shield PvP podcast. I have a special guest for you guys. In this episode, we have the one and only Justin. Justin himself joining us, who has an amazing YouTube channel and who is the content creator who actually covered the Melmetal exploit with Jesus or Jesus. Yeah, I pronounce names pretty bad, but he was the one who covered it so many times and in the best way possible. That's how I knew what's going on in the PvP. It was closed down basically like 2 weeks, the Pokemon Go Battle League, and then he covered all of it, and he had hundreds of thousands of views. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I will link it in below and also put a link into his channel. But he's joining us today, and we talk about so many amazing things, from the current new Ultra and Premier Cup that is awesome. I cannot wait to go. And then we're gonna learn how he built up his points, how he tanked some points, and how he stabilized, and also his best teams, best usage, best recommendation to use, some Stardust tips, and so many more. So guys, make sure to tune in. This episode is going to be amazing. Justin, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. I'm super excited to have you because I've been watching and learning from your videos, and I'm just super thankful to make this time for us to come to the podcast. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm excited.
I'm super excited because, Justin, so like I said, I had been watching, your videos, and then there were some really awesome teams last season, and not just for me to use, but to see how to play against. And your channel had been growing like crazy, and you have been doing this for a while because you have different YouTube channels as well. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to ask you is that how did you just get involved with Pokemon Go?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I used to watch the Pokemon show on TV before school. That was like in 1998 or whenever it started. But then I kind of got out of it, and I wasn't really into Pokemon until Pokemon Go came out. And I downloaded the app like one of the first few days it was out, and then just kind of been playing it pretty much every day since. So yeah, it's been, the addiction, but I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And not just that, but you were like one of the first timers, right? When it first came out, the actual phone app?
Yeah, you mean like the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded it, I want to say like 2 days after it came out. One of my friends was playing it, so I gave it a try and just got really into it.
The reason I was just asking, because PvP didn't come out for like, what, 2-3 years after that?
Yeah, it was, I want to say it was like September-ish or 2018, something like that. Because I remember Silph started like January 2019. So I think it had been around for a couple months before then. But yeah, I wasn't really into it until Silph came around. And that was when I kind of got real into PvP.
Yeah, because back then, the only way you could battle someone if you were like, what, best friends or something like that, right?
I think it was Ultra Friends, but yeah, I don't remember actually. Maybe it was best friends. I can't remember because the people I did battle with first were best friends, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just crazy how much it evolved. But how come? So when let's say you started a game and I think raiding wasn't even added in just yet, and then Snorlax were taking over the gyms, and all the fun stuff. But so right away when Silph came out, did you get involved with Silph Arena?
Yeah, so the Boulder Cup, it was the first tournament in 2019, and I scrambled to put a team together. I didn't do very well, so I wanted to do a lot better. So like the next cup, the Twilight Cup in February, I was like practicing, I was actually recording some of my matches and trying to learn to get better. And that was kind of when I started getting really into it. But I wasn't like super into it until I started my YouTube channel in September of 2019. That was when I got I was putting like 3 times more time into it than I was before. So.
And did it start, so since you mentioned a YouTube channel, did your YouTube channel start with like Silph Arena first and then posting it?
Yeah, because it was before Go Battle League came out. So it was, Go Battle League came out in January. So I was doing videos up until then. And then I forget when I started doing like mostly Go Battle League videos. It was towards maybe, it was May is when I started uploading like daily. So, but yeah, before that I was doing Silph Arena content.
So then let's talk about Silph Arena real quick. So what would be like, you're still active, and the question is, what would be like your regular setup in a way that how do you prepare for a new tournament? Because each month, if just for listeners, if they don't know what Silph Arena is, each month there's a new meta, basically. So
Yeah.
how do you prepare for something like that?
Well, and actually, to be honest, I haven't done the last tournament for the last month because I was so caught up with the YouTube channel. I wasn't like having time to practice. But yeah, like what basically once the meta comes out, like I check pvpoke.com and like watch some different YouTubers do like the meta simplified videos. Hero Vange was like the one I would always watch because he would do like the most comprehensive one. And I would just put a team together and then just practice every day. Basically, that was like the only way I could get really good was to practice. So I would battle different people like 2 or 3 times a day, and then just kind of learn the matchups from there.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking, because what I wanted to ask you next is that, so that's the Silph prep, and that sounds pretty familiar to lots of people, and just practice once you put together your team and you feel comfortable. But how about Go Battle League? Because Go Battle League is almost like you're in a Las Vegas casino, pull the thing, and you don't know what's gonna come next.
Right. Go Battle League is like, it is kind of a crapshoot in a way with Great League because there's so many different Pokemon you could run into. In fact, yesterday I was like writing down like the leads I was running into yesterday, and like in 14 matches I ran into 14 different leads, which like rarely ever happens in Ultra League or Master League or Premier Cup. So yeah, it's frustrating at times because you'll feel like, oh, I'm on a good streak, and then all of a sudden you run into like 5 teams in a row that completely destroy your team. So yeah, it's been the best tip for Go Battle League is to pick one team and kind of just stick with it, because you will learn some like little different scenarios that you can actually play very optimally, where if you're just playing a team for the first time, you're definitely not going to play the right way. So yeah, sticking with the team has like been the biggest thing to help me do better in Great League. As good as I can do.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that too. So you beat me to it because I agree with you. That's one of the things that if you keep changing it up, you're not gonna know the. If you had 14, you said 14 or 15 different leads.
Yeah,
Right?
14 leads in 14 different games. So it's like literally a different lead every single time.
Yeah, think about it. If you have that and you switch up your team every time, then your chances even to have any chance is way lower than just sticking with the same team.
Yeah, I like the worst losing streaks I go on is when I'm like changing my team every match because I get frustrated. Because like I'll run into like 2 electric types in a row. I'll switch my lead to like a ground type, and then I'll run into like a water type. I don't know. It's just like one of those things where, yeah, sometimes you just get really bad luck and run into a string of bad counters.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then just like in Ultra League 2, when nobody used Charizard, and then all of a sudden you swap it out, you bring in something like Charizard, for example, and all of a sudden everybody has the counter for it, or the vice versa.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
So,
it's frustrating.
Yeah. And what would be like, let's say, your last season, what was your favorite go-to team in Great League?
Well, at the end of Great League, I was really having a lot of success with Shadow Gardevoir, and then Alolan Marowak as like a safe switch, and then Lantern as like the back, because Azumarill is so popular that I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with Lantern and see how it goes. And sure enough, I kept running into Azumarills, and I was just winning a ton of matches. Because like at the end, when like shields were down, I was able to land the Thunderbolts and yeah, win a lot of matches that way.
That's awesome. And by the way, do you have defense from Deoxys or no?
Yeah, I did use that for a while too. I was using like that with Altaria and Azumarill, but then like I started running into a bunch of, I don't know, counter teams or something, so I wanted to change it up, and I decided to go with Gardevoir just because it's fun to like catch a lead, and there's a lot of leads that you can beat with like if you burn a shield, because they will not be able to shield because you're just doing charm the whole time. So so it makes it real easy to win. You basically only lose to like steel types. I mean, or like, super spammy attackers.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Good tactic. And then how about this season? Did you change anything, or are you trying the same?
I started out with that team, but because Stunfisk was so popular, I wasn't having as much success with like Lantern, for example. And so So I've just been experimenting with a bunch of different stuff, and like they changed the moves, and so I was like powering up Obama Snow and like Pelipper, and I haven't tried them yet, but I've been working on maxing them out like throughout the last couple weeks, which is why I never have Stardust.
So that's I was wanting to ask you right away that you're working on it. So
Yeah.
Stardust is one of those currencies in the game that's almost always empty. Do you have any
Yeah.
suggestion on how to save it or get it?
I mean, not really. Like honestly, just going out. Like whenever they have a 3-time Stardust event, just basically grinding as hard as you can and like doing a lot of speed catching, because that's the best way to do it. Like you can get, if you go really hard, you could get, I don't know. Some people have gotten like well over 500,000 dust in like 3 hours. So one of those things. Other than that, just like, keeping your phone on adventure sync whenever you go out and just keep hatching eggs and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, just kind of always grinding when you can.
That's a good point. And then what I want to ask you too is, did you see the new Netflix that came out, The Journey, or no?
Oh, the movie?
So they came out, Netflix created just not, a month ago, I think, like their own TV show of Pokemon. So it's called the Pokemon Journey or something like that.
No, I haven't seen that. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, so the only reason I was asking, because in that there's Ash and there's Go, there's 2-person, and one is all about, Ash is all about the PvP, and the other is all about catching all of them and don't care about PvP. So what I want to ask you is, which one are you? Are you all about PvP or both or mix?
I'm totally PvP. In fact, like I don't even like really care too much about shinies, and like even like I used to go hard like on Discord. People would call out like, oh, there's 100%, something over here, and I would like go out and drive to it and catch it. But now like I don't even care about those anymore. I just like, if it's not a good PvP IV, I don't really care. So it's kind of I'm like super into the PvP.
Yeah, I totally understand. Same way here. When people tell me that there is that and that, I'm like, well, is it good for PvP? If no, I'm good, thank you.
Right. Yeah, it's like, oh, you want this? Or like, there's a hundo, I don't know, Pidgey or something. I'm like, I'm not going to use that, so I don't care.
Yeah, I agree. So, which one would you prefer? Like, if you would pick and you would only go one, then would you go all Silph or all Go Battle League? Which one do you prefer more?
It's really tough. I've been talking to some friends about that. It's tough because I really did love Silph Arena like so much, but there was a lot of vagueness with the rules, and there was a lot of scenarios where people asked for a rematch when I won, and like there really wasn't much of an issue, but the tournament organizer would just say, do a rematch, and then I would end up losing. And then like, especially with the remote tournaments, there's been a lot of situations where like, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was 100% fair with how things played out. And it just kind of left a sour taste. And like, I kind of was like getting a little tired of it. But yeah, I mean, because like, for example, there was a situation where I was doing a battle. I actually uploaded a video about it like right after it happened, but it was Ferocious Cup, and like it was literally the last Pokemon. Like it was like down to like the last 30 seconds of the game, and I had a Ninetales versus their Ninetales, but I think I had a shield and like they didn't or something like that. It was basically a guaranteed win for me, and then they lagged, and like the rules say if there's like a lag, you can ask for a rematch. And I basically got talked into doing a rematch when I was like a 99% chance to win that match. And then I ended up losing. So I lost like I lost the total match, the best of 3. And it was just like stuff like that where if it was up to me, there would be like an actual referee that would watch it, and then like, just like in football, and they would determine, okay, this is what would have happened had everything played out the right way. And then they would make a ruling. But a lot of times they don't want to be in that position to make a ruling like that. And it was just frustrating, and I kind of like got less and less into it as time went by. So then I just kind of basically shifted to Go Battle League after that.
Yeah, I can totally see that, exactly what you're saying, because people don't want to take the responsibility, calling it out that okay, that clearly he won, so there's no rematch. And
right.
And then what you mentioned with the sports, that was a perfect analogy because, for example, in hockey, when somebody goes and then you throw the stick, it would only count, like, you know, when it's like one-on-one on the goalie, it would only be like a, what do you call it, a penalty shot if, for a fact, that guy was just one-on-one going forwards the goalie and you somehow tripped him or whatever happened, right? So
Right.
in this game, your game, clearly that wasn't the case. It just sounds like it doesn't matter. You could have tripped it, doesn't matter, you would have won anyways, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, there's definitely situations where it was like, you know, if it didn't lag, and then another thing is like when the game lags too, even if you were like most likely going to win, you start over. Now your opponent knows what moves you're going to use. And in the rules, they're allowed to use the same. They have to use the same team, but they're allowed to like change the way they play, which I don't like that because it gives them an advantage. So it's like if you lag, that's to your advantage because now you see their team, you know what moves they have, and then you can adjust your play. And I really did not like that rule, but it wasn't a rule that they were going to change. So that was another thing I didn't like about it.
Yeah, that part I'm not a fan of that either. I lost the matches because of that too, when I would have won and then basically had to start over and now they know, and then all of a sudden they're using it differently, you know, the actual lineup.
Yeah, especially because like if you have a Pokemon like Hypno, for example, with like 6 or 7 different, I don't know how many charge moves, once you reveal which charge moves you have, and then you start over a rematch, like they can totally like change their strategy based on what moves you have.
Yeah, exactly. So what I was gonna ask you now, since we're talking about all the referees and everything and almost professional gaming, so the question that I have, and I ask this to everyone, what do you think about, and I can also fill you in with some research that I have done on it, but my question is, what do you think about Pokemon Go eventually going possibly to esports? Do you believe in it or hoping for it?
Well, before I say that, I want to just end by saying like I don't hate anyone in Silph Arena. Like I don't hate anyone. Like I like all those people who I met, and I'm hoping like in the future that I'll start playing again. It just like, and it wasn't. I don't necessarily think it was their fault too. Like the lag in the game is really putting them in a hard place because I don't think the game should lag as much as it should, and so it is putting a lot of pressure on Silph to kind of like be the referee and like it just. Yeah, it's too new also because like to be an esport, I really do feel like there should be like with any sport, there needs to be trained referees. So like if you're gonna be a tournament organizer, like in officiate if that's a word, like Silph tournaments, like you have to really know PV poke, like you need to know the counts for all the moves, you need to know how much damage something would do. Like there's a lot of training I feel like would need to happen if it were to become an esport. And since PvP is so new, I understand it's definitely very difficult to do that. A lot of these people they're just volunteering their time. So like, it's not really 100% their fault. Like if they can't make a ruling about something. So yeah, I just want to make sure like I don't want to say like I'm bashing Silph because I do like Silph, and I love the metas that they come up with. I think they're really interesting. But yeah, to go back to your question, to be an esport, I think the game needs to work like 100% if it even wants to have a sliver of a chance. Where right now I don't see that happening. It's just too buggy.
I agree. The only way I would actually see it happen if they have like their own server, not connected to the internet, at an actual in-person tournament, and then there's no chance of lag and bugs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That would be definitely. Because when there's no lag, the game is super interesting. There's a lot of close matches that like come down to like 1 HP and stuff like that. So it could definitely make for exciting content for those who play. But yeah, the lag just right now kills it.
Yeah, exactly. So what I wanted to ask you also is that, well, soon now we have Ultra League, and Ultra League we're gonna have a Premier. I guess we can call it Premier Cup. Do you have any thoughts on that yet, or no?
I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I do think it's going to be a little more similar to the Master League Premier Cup. Like I think you'll see a lot of the same Pokemon like Gyarados and Dragonite, Togekiss, stuff like that, and of course Swampert. So I think it will be similar to the Master League Premier Cup, but I still think it's going to be a positive thing because the legendaries are so expensive to max out, get that second move. A lot of people don't have that. And so this will kind of open it up for more players to compete. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and do you have any plans on any teams yet or not yet?
I do want to try Gyarados because the community day is coming up and I want to try that Aqua Tail move. I do think we're going to see a lot of those, which means we'll probably have to come up, I can't think off the top of my head, like a good electric type attacker to use for that. Or maybe, I mean, maybe Machamp can even make a play again. I don't know, like something with Rock Slide. I think anything that can counter Gyarados, I think will be super popular in that first week until we start seeing like a meta kind of form.
Yeah,
Yeah, Gyarados for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. Lots of people weren't excited about that community day, but I think, first of all, the 3-time Stardust alone for like, what, 5 or 6 hours? I'm super excited about that.
I want to go out the entire time and just, yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, and then of course, I want to try Aqua Tail as well. And then what I was going to also ask you is that as far as for which league would be your absolute favorite that you enjoy playing the most?
So if there wasn't any like rating or ranking or anything, then Great League, like hands down, just because it's so, there's so much different Pokemon you can use. It's super interesting. Like I love seeing like the crazy teams, like the Shadow Sharpedos that I made a video about, which was hilarious because it's so squishy, but it's so powerful. So like seeing stuff like that is super fun and interesting. But when it comes to like grinding and getting your rating up, that can kind of be really annoying because you don't know what you're going to run into, and it's kind of like a luck of the draw type of thing. So I forget what the question was.
No, it's just which one would be your favorite? Well, you can say two ways.
Okay, yeah.
One is to play, one is to grind.
Yeah, Great League to just play, and then to grind, I think I prefer like Ultra League the most, or like Premier Cup and Master League. I was having a lot of success with that, so yeah, definitely Ultra League or Premier Cup for Master League.
Yeah, that's. I was just wondering because I think everybody has, and I believe when the season starts, aren't the point system you're getting less points at the beginning and you get more points at the end?
Oh, I don't know about that. I do know the points right now in season 3 are a lot smaller. So if you get like a 4-in-1 set, before you would get like 26 to 30 points depending on who you played. Now it's like 18 to 20 points. So it's very, very slow this season, and I don't know, like, it's going to be tough for people who didn't hit rank 10 already to get rank 10 because, like, I started, like, at 2015 rating once I hit rank 7, and I'm, like, at 2100 now, but it's taken several days to get there. I don't know, it's just taking forever.
Yeah, no, same thing. So I was like, wow, no way. So I had so many 4-1 sets, and then I'm like, man, I'm only getting like, I think it was like, yeah, you were right. I think like 16 to 18 points or something like that.
Yeah.
But then if you go 1-4, I think you lose 18 or 20 or something like that. So that's like, not good.
Right. Yeah, it's like last night I did 5 sets and I gained 7 points. And so it was just like, it's going to be a long grind. And I'd be curious to see how many people hit rank 10 this season versus last season. I feel like it's going to be a much smaller number.
Yeah, that I agree. And well, one thing is that lots of people did start at high too. Some people started at like 2700, I think the highest, right? 2688 or something.
Oh yeah, I did hear about some people starting over 2600, which is crazy. I mean, they're like the best of the best, so it makes sense.
Agreed. Yeah. So as far as for any recommendation for any new PvP player who would, let's say, just gonna come into Go Battle League this season, do you have any recommendation to them to maybe a team just to get to know the game or just anything whatsoever?
Yeah, I would say definitely, like if you're doing Great League, pick a team that complements each other. So for example, if you have, let's say you love Haunter, for example, and you want to use Haunter. Maybe that's not the best example, but we'll go with it. So Haunter is weak to like, it's weak to Ghost and it's weak to Ground. So your other Pokemon on your team should have some sort of resistance to those. So maybe like go with like a normal type to resist the Ghost, or go with like a Flyer Skarmory to resist the Ground type, and kind of build your team based upon that instead of just picking like, oh, I like this Pokemon, I like this Pokemon, I like this Pokemon. You don't want to have a Pokemon that's like all weak to something and not resistant to any of the weaknesses. So just pick a team. Once you pick that team, just stick with it. Don't change your teams. Do at least like a week straight of that one team, and you'll be surprised at how good you get with that team and how many more games you win towards the end versus the beginning.
I agree. That's a good point. And as far as for in your case, where could people find you right now if they want to get in touch with you or watch your videos? Where could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so JRskatr, JR and then SKATR. There's no E. That is my handle for Twitter and for YouTube. So if you just search that, you'll be able to find me. And usually if you message me on Twitter, like I'll see it eventually, but I might not respond right away, but that's a good way to reach me. I think that's probably the best way, or you could like maybe comment on a YouTube video if you want to ask me a question, because I read all the comments too. And so, yeah, you could do that as well.
Are you in the future, do you plan on also streaming or not yet?
I don't know, because like I get really into my games and like, I don't know if I don't want to like curse or something or say something bad and like people not want to see me anymore. I don't know. I just feel like I do better when I can focus, and then because I get distracted real easily too. So I feel like if I can do my battle and then like make a video about it, for me it works better. I don't know if I'll be good at like playing while streaming, but I don't know.
People might really like that if you get really into the game and you just go nuts.
I know a lot of people, and it is entertaining to watch, but I just don't know, like with the broad audience that I have, like I don't know how many of my audience are like children, and like I don't know, I don't want to be like on Twitch like swearing up a storm in front of them. And like, yeah, I don't know, we'll see though.
Yeah,
but
no, I totally agree with you.
I hear Macintosh computers are bad for Twitch, so I don't know. I don't have a PC that I could use for Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. That what you said. So you literally have to build one just for streaming. So I understand, and it's also just like YouTube, but you have to be live, and it's a hustle to get involved.
Yeah. Do you stream on Twitch? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not, but I'm looking into it as well. So I might test it out and see. But I do, since you mentioned it, I do look into how to use a Mac to stream. And then it's basically like, it's called an external GPU, which is a few $100s, and it can literally hook into the Mac, and then it streams like really well then after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to look into that, because
that way you don't have to like upgrade the computer or get a new one.
That would be a much like more cheaper solution than building a whole new computer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what I also wanted to ask you just before we wrap this up is just one big mistake that you have ever made in either in Pokemon Go, like for example, TMing away a special move on a Mewtwo, like I did back in the day, or or in PvP, like I focus blasted a Mewtwo, which also was stupid. Anything like that? Yeah.
Well, I do remember that one day. I don't know if you remember where, like the Mewtwo came back, and then there was like a glitch for like a half hour or so. You could like TM to get Shadow Ball again, and during that window I had like a 96% Mewtwo with like a perfect attack, and I totally forgot to TM that when I was TMing. Like I was just going down the list and I TM'd all these other ones. I forgot my 96% Mewtwo. So that was one of the things. I'm trying to think in terms of Go Battle League. I mean, there's always times where I'm using the wrong charge move, and so I'm not sure. I can't think of like a specific example. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm always making mistakes.
Same here. And then one lastly, what would be like your #1 accomplishment, either in Go Battle League or in Pokemon or even on YouTube, whatever that is, so people would look out for that?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because like, since I started my channel in September, my biggest kind of like regret was not uploading more consistently. Like I would go, because you know, like editing it takes forever to edit sometimes, and I would like burn myself out, and then I would take like a break. But starting May 1st of this year, I set like a personal challenge to myself to upload every single day for 100 days straight, and I'm on day like 94 right now, so I'm almost at the end, and then I'm gonna take a day off. But just being disciplined with uploading consistently has been the biggest thing for my channel, because it just allowed me to, you know, get more exposure. And then I kind of got lucky exposing like that hack, that exploit that kind of helped my channel blow up a little bit. And so just putting in that work every day, and then kind of like the luck kind of will find you every now and then, and just kind of taking advantage when you can. But just, yeah, staying consistent has been huge for my channel.
That's a good advice, not just for your channel and people listening right now, but even for PvP, for Pokemon Go and all those, because people do exactly the same thing in the game that you're doing on YouTube as well. Yeah.
I mean, anything you want to see results, like if you do something to get you towards that goal every day. Like, don't take a day off. Just keep going every day. You'll be surprised what happens in like a couple months. Like, a lot can happen.
And I just wanted to point out, you mentioned about the exploit. Well, actually, it wasn't luck. I mean, it was luck that it happened, and you covered it. But
yeah,
you did actually a really good job. I watched the video, and so you actually did it at the right time. You were at the right place, and you had the right idea about it. So that worked out perfect.
right, exactly. Because every night I was uploading like my best set. You know, like, so I think I even had a 4-1 set that day. But then I ran into that guy, and I was like, and you know, had I not been uploading every day, I probably wouldn't have even been screen recording. So like, I might have not even recorded that match. And so, you know, I just kind of was at the right place at the right time. I was recording, and I was like, I need to make a video about this now. So I pushed off my other video and I made that video. And I don't know, it was weird because like the first 3 days, I mean, it was getting a lot of views, but then it started getting more traction. And then like some people were writing articles about it, and like the views just went like this, and just kind of like 3 days later, I was getting like 3,000 views per hour or something crazy like that. So it just kind of blew up. But yeah, I was just lucky, right place at the right time, and yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. And then one last thing I want to ask you, just basically, is there any last words that you want to say to the audience or to anyone who's starting out, or basically just closing words?
Yeah, so thanks again for having me. If you are starting out for PvP, I would highly suggest, you know, learning how to use the website pvpoke.com, just so you can like kind of test out different battle situations and see, you know, how to play a match differently if you lose a match. So that's definitely like one thing you need to use when you're doing it. And then also picking a team that has good coverage for each other. You know, like, if you have something that's weak to grass, pick a Pokemon that's resistant to grass as like a backup Pokemon, and learning how to balance your team that way. And then just practicing recording your battles too, because if you lose a match, you should go back and watch it over again, and you'll most likely find some sort of mistake you made. And that's the best way, I think, to get better.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for doing the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. I look forward to doing some more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.